everyone. This is my second Periscope this week of doing baking, and I'm going to be making two things today. I'm going to be making challah, which is a sweetbread that Jews make, and Anise cookies, which come from the Italian side of my family. So I'm going to do the challah. I'm going to mix the challah first because it has to rise, and then I'll mix the cookies while the challah is rising. So let's get going. I haven't tried this recipe before. I got it off of All Recipes, and I don't know how to do the camera, and it's backwards. Anyways, but it's a sweet challah recipe by Super Rebbitzin on All Recipes, and it sounded good and it has good reviews, so I figured I'd try it. So it says mixed yeast, sugar, and warm water together in a large bowl. So, if I can open the yeast. It's a new thing of yeast. There we go. Alright. So there's the yeast. It says, how much yeast is it? 1 tablespoon of active yeast. So I'm going to have to go get the water behind me at the sink, but let's see. Here's my 1 tablespoon of yeast. And then 1/3 of a cup of sugar. There's my 1/3 measure here. 1/3. Nope, I got a lump of sugar here. Do not want lumps of sugar. Had those last time I tried baking. They didn't end well. There's another lump. Gotta pull them out as I go. That's about 1/3 of a cup. Let's just add a little bit more here just to even it out. There we go. That's 1/3 of a cup of sugar. And warm water. I need to go get that from the sink, so I will be right back. I have my measuring cup. I grabbed a spoon to stir it with, so this is 2 cups. It's not quite the temperature it says in the recipe, but it's warm to the touch, so I figured that's the way to go. So I will add this slowly here so I don't splash. There we go. So now I'm stirring to dissolve the sugar and to activate the yeast. I'm sorry, person who just posted a comment in Russian, but I don't speak Russian. I know that's Russian from the alphabet, but I'm sorry. Can't answer your question because I don't know what you're saying. And then I have to let it stand until it says a creamy layer forms on top, which is about 5 minutes. So I am going to beat eggs in a separate bowl while this is activating, while the yeast is activating. So, have a small bowl here, got a big fork, and there we go. I'm actually going to grab the trash can, because I'm going to need it for the eggshells. So I might as well have it out here with me where it's, available and easy to use. So that's 2, 3, 4 eggs. Wipe my hands. Now to beat the eggs. Alright, I need vegetable oil. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. There we go, a 1/2 cup. And here's a trick for when you're measuring, right? Liquids have a meniscus where they wick up the side, right, of whatever the container is. And yes, I know what that word is, meniscus. So what you should do is when you're measuring liquids in a clear thing like this, the bottom of the bow needs to be at the line, because otherwise you won't quite have enough liquid. So that's just a tip for you. So here we go. Here's the half cup of vegetable oil, and I'm going to have to go grab the salt. I thought I'd grabbed everything before I started, but apparently not. So there's the oil. I need to grab the salt. Go. Oh my god. There's stuff all over this. I blame my boyfriend. He makes a mess when he cooks and he doesn't clean it up. So, because he does. He seriously makes a huge mess. It says tablespoon. Yeah, 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm going to have to clean this because he makes such a mess when he cooks. It's like not even funny how messy he is. Alright, that's 1 tablespoon of salt. He is just, I love him dearly, but sometimes he's just crazy. Alright. There we go. There's the salt. So now I beat this. Oh, and the foam is forming in the yeast. Good, good. Foam is forming. So now I add a cup of sugar to this mixture, because challah is a doughy, eggy, sweet bread. It's not like your average white bread. It's an eggy bread, and it's sweet. So. All right. Time to open the other sugar. It's a good thing I have another bag of it. Right here. 1 sec, I need to put my tea on. I forgot. That was good. I totally spilled hot water all over the counter. Always good, right? So let's get my cup of sugar here. There we go. That's a cup. And I stir that into my egg mixture. So it's a beat until smooth kind of thing. Just getting all the stuff off the table here. Actually, I should use the towel, because, you know, that would be helpful. There we go. So, the yeast is coming along nicely. It hasn't quite all activated yet, but it's getting there. So, but it's going to take me a little while to get the sugar incorporated into this, because there's actually quite a bit of it, so... It's a good arm workout. Baking is a good arm workout. Oh, the lighting's... If I lean forward, the lighting's horrible. I guess I have to keep my head tilted back so you can see me properly. Oh, that was loud. Sorry, I got a text message from my mom. Because I told her I was going to be baking today. I'm like, I know. Mom's like, bread takes time to rise, which I know because I'm not an idiot and I know how bread is made. And she's like, ever made bread? I'm like, I know, and no, I haven't. It's an experiment. So, you know, I actually have never made bread before, so this would be fun, right? Oh, my whisk fell over. There we go. Okay, so Said the yeast would take about 5 minutes, and it looks like it's getting close. So I am going to go get myself my tea, and the yeast should be better. Should be good by the time I get back. I made a nice green for myself this morning. I'm a big loose leaf tea drinker, so. Hi, Siberia. What's your username? I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. Sorry, but hi. Thank you for watching from Russia. Ooh, that's a little hot. So I'm going to put that down. And it looks like the yeast is about good. So now I'm going to add the egg mixture to the yeast mixture. So, actually, I need to stir flour into the yeast before I add the eggs. So, there we go. It says stir in 3 cups of flour. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's see, that's 1. 2, and this is the 3rd cup. 3 cups of flour. Nope. Dropping my measuring cup in the mixture is not necessarily a good thing. Just going to leave that. Spoon, come back here, spoon. I'm dropping things all over the place. That's always good, right? Dropping things. So I've already added 3 cups, and I need to have 9 total, but I need to mix the flour into the yeast before I add the egg. So let's do that. And you have to be careful when you start mixing, because you don't want to be too violent, because you don't want to kill the yeast, but you still need to make sure everything gets incorporated and that it's not too lumpy. My mom keeps texting me. There goes the cat climbing her cat tower. I don't know if you can hear stuff in the background. I have the TV on and just some background noise for myself. And there we go. That's about the proper consistency. So let's add in the egg mixture. Ooh, it made like a foamy noise. Alright, that's in. I'm going to go set this to soak in the sink so it can get clean. There we go. So I'm not actually doing all the mixing and everything in the kitchen because it's quite small. I'm actually mixing on my dining table because, well, the dining table has more space for me to spread out and to put the iPad for the Periscope, so, you know, all's well. So I have this mixed, and it says continue to add flour 1 cup at a time for a total of 9 cups, and that it should be slightly sticky, but not so wet that it gets stuck to, it says stuck to your hands, but I'm using a fork to mix it initially, so I'm not using my hands. Might get my hands, I'm going to get my hands in there later, but not right now. So this makes cup 4 of 9. And I just have to go slowly and take it easy so that I don't either send flour going everywhere or kill the yeast or anything. So, mix this. I know, watching someone mix isn't the most fun thing in the world, but it's a necessary part of baking and cooking, is mixing stuff. Alright. The cat is sitting at the top of the cat tower, staring out the sliding door out to our small balcony in the apartment, watching the birds at the bird feeder I have, and she is entranced. Like, she's just like crouched down, staring at the birds. You know, it's a good thing I put an apron on, because otherwise I'd be covered in flour already, and I'm wearing a dark shirt, so, like, you'd really notice. It's funny, there was a myth, you know, hundreds of years ago that if you stirred a mixture in the, hi Belgium, I can't read your username from here, but hi person from Belgium, there used to be a myth, years ago, it was a superstition, that you were only supposed to stir a dough or a batter one way, because otherwise it would come unmixed. Which of course today we think of as silly, but you know, a few hundred years ago that was what people thought. And, it was just really interesting. So I've put 5 cups of flour in, so this makes 6. I'm going for 9. So this makes 6 cups of flour. Hi, people watching. I am actually recording this with Catch, so, you know, it'll be up and available to watch on Catch after the broadcast is actually over if you want to watch from the beginning. I'm not quite sure how long I'll be broadcasting. Last time, when I broadcasted on Monday, I was at it for an hour, but this time it'll probably take me a little bit longer. This is getting a little thick here. It's getting, you know, a little goopy. But that is 6 cups of flour. This makes 7. I might have to get my hands into it after this one. Because it's getting a little thick and I don't want to break my fork here, so I might have to start using my hands after this. Yeah, this is definitely starting to pull together here, so I am going to have to go wash my hands real quick, and then get my hands in the dough. So, as I spilled dough on the actual, like, table, that's good, right? I'm gonna go wash my hands. It's always important that you have clean hands while you're baking because you don't want to get anything in. And it, like, my advice would be if you have any rings, take them off. Because people have lost, in my family, they're not chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to be making anise flavored cookies. It's an Italian recipe from that side of my family. But anyways, what I was saying about rings and dough is you don't want to be wearing rings while getting your hands in dough because if the dough is sticky enough, it will pull stones out of their settings. So even if you, like, never take off your wedding ring, take it off. Because you don't want to lose the diamond or whatever in whatever you're baking. Just, you know, little advice. Don't do that. It's bad. So, this was 7 cups of flour. And I'm going to go dump the fork in the sink because I don't have somewhere to put it on the table. There we go. And now I will add the 1/8 cup. So what I'm going to mix with my left, and, well, I'm on my iPad, so I'm sorry that the video quality is bad, but all I have is Wi-Fi. Because it's an iPad, so I don't have self-service on my iPad. And it's an old iPad, so I know the camera isn't that great. So, you know, I'm sorry, you just gotta have to live with the bad quality. Sorry. Though I can double check what Wi-Fi network I'm connected to. Well, I had been broadcasting, and then I left the app to check what Wi-Fi network I was connected to because people were complaining that there was bad video, and it ended the broadcast on me. So this is part 2 of bread and baking. I've already gotten my mix together here. I just added the 1/8 cup of flour to my challah dough, and I'm going to get my hands in there and start mixing it. So, I'm sorry to all the people that had been watching and now are not, but, you know, stuff happens, technical difficulties. I am on an old iPad, so I know the quality's not that good, but the iPad is in a case that can let me prop it up as opposed to my phone, which I can't prop up, and the camera's better on my phone, but it's not, you know. And the front-facing camera on the old iPads was not the greatest, so, you know. So, here we go. I got this cup of flour almost entirely in. It hasn't quite come together yet enough that I can take it out of the bowl and knead it, because it needs to be a little stiffer, because you can see it's all over my hand, and it should be slightly sticky, but not so sticky that it's all over my hand like it currently is. So, let's add cup 9. And see what that does. I'm getting flour all over the table, but that's okay because I'm going to need flour on the table to knead the dough anyways. There we go. Just scraping the dough off my hand so I can incorporate it back into the mix here. So, the edge of the bowl is actually a really good place to do that because then it's still in the bowl and you can mix it back in and it's not a problem. There we go. I got my hand almost cleaned off here so that I can then start reincorporating this into the mix. There we go. That's a lot better. There we go. Yep, I think 9 cups will be good. I just need to, I might need a smidge more simply because the humidity is high, so the flour is not absorbing as much flour as it should. Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more flour here. This is not quite the proper consistency yet. Yeah. Let's try like a 1/4 cup, just a little bit to get it to, because it's still too sticky according to the recipe. So, adding a little bit more flour, just to try to get it to come away from the sides of the bowl and my hand. And again, scraping the dough off my hand so that it gets mixed properly. Because it's supposed to be tacky, but not like this. So, because there's tacky and then there's won't come off. So. And I think that last, like, extra 1/4 cup might have done it. Because now it's not really sticking like it had been. So I think that might have done it. Because, yeah, well, the humidity's high here right now. So it's, you know, it's taking a while to mix everything together here. So just taking the little pieces off of my finger here so I can mix a little bit better. And like I said, you want to take rings off when you start doing this because otherwise it won't be pretty. Actually, now that I'm incorporating it again, I think I need a smidge more flour because it's still sticking to my hands and it shouldn't. So I'm trying to get to the point where it's not stuck to my hands. So let's try this. Yeah, because see, it's all stuck to my hand and it shouldn't be. So it should not be stuck to my hand at all. So, and I've caught a lot of it stuck to my hand actually. I am using the spoon to get it all off because, well, there's actually a lot of it stuck to my fingers. Cooking is messy, I will say this. Like, those cooking shows where everything's clean and neat all the time, I don't buy because I'm just like, no, it's cooking is messy. You need to get your hands in it, stuff gets everywhere, and, you know, nothing's perfect. There we go. That's better. If I get some flour on my hand, it'll probably help too, to keep it from sticking to my hand. So, I'm just still getting dough off my fingers. This is a slightly tedious process here, but the flour helps actually. Getting the flour on my hand and then rubbing my hands together is a good way to get the dough off, so that's what I'm doing. So, almost got all the dough off, and then I can start mixing it again. And then hopefully that'll get me to the proper consistency, and I can get to kneading it on the table here. So, yeah, I think that last little bit of flour was a good idea. So, I'm going to turn this out onto the table, and I'm going to knead it. So I'm going to take the rest of the flour in my cup here and just spread it on the table so that the bread doesn't stick, because having bread stick to your table is not what you want to happen. So I'll just do a little bit more here. Just kind of spreading it out a little bit so that I have room to work. There we go. And now I'm going to turn this out onto the table. Yeah, and it hasn't quite been incorporated evenly, so that's where the kneading comes in, so that I will get everything all incorporated properly here. So now I'm going to knead this until it reaches the proper consistency here. Yep, and I'm glad I put the extra flour on the table because it's sticking to the table a little, but that's okay. So I just need to knead this until, you know, it has to get to a certain, like, consistency in here, and it shouldn't be sticking to the table anymore, and it's totally sticking to the table. So, you know, I'm going to spread some more flour and unstick the dough from the table. Because that needs to be a thing. It needs to get unstuck. I'm going to have to wash everything before I start the next There we go. That's good. Now it's not super sticking to the table like that. So, I think that's the proper consistency, so I just need to knead it for a few more minutes here. I'll swipe some of this extra flour off to the side here so that I'm not completely, like, adding way too much flour, but all these little bits of dough on my fingers that need to come off and get incorporated into the dough here. And then I'm going to have to oil the bowl before I put the dough in the bowl.